This is the CultureCast, episode 2.
Are you looking to improve culture at your organization? Do you like to stay up to date on what's working for other companies? If so, you've come to the right place. You're listening to the CultureCast, a podcast that uncovers what's working for organizations in every corner of the business world. Here's your host, Amelia Wilcox.
Hi, on today's show, my guest is Stephanie Larson, and she is the Benefits and Wellness Manager for HealthEquity. She's going to share with you what her company has been able to do to enhance their corporate culture by choosing a unique company theme. This helps them to hire the right employees that fit their culture, and she's going to share some tips on how you can do the same at your own organizations. Stephanie's a public health practitioner, and she's been really passionate about holistic health, about learning, and about balance. She's earned her undergraduate degree from BYU and her Master of Public Health degree from Boston University. And at the end of the episode, I have a free gift for you to download, so listen for my instructions on how to get it at the end. Now, here is my interview with Stephanie Larson. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being on the CultureCast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. Can you just start by kind of telling us a little bit about HealthEquity, what it is you guys do, and just kind of an overview of the company?
Yeah, definitely. So HealthEquity is a company based here in Draper, Utah. We are the nation's oldest and one of its largest dedicated health savings account custodians. So I'm sure you're probably familiar with a health savings account. Mm-hmm. It's a triple tax advantaged account that allows people to save money for whether it's healthcare expenses now or in the future, or even just for retirement. So we administer those for people all across the country.
Awesome. Okay, and what do you do specifically for HealthEquity? What's your role?
Yeah, so I am the Benefits and Wellness Manager here at HealthEquity. I work on what's called our people team. Mm-hmm. We don't believe in the term HR. It's kind of got a bad rep. So we try to rebrand that by calling ourselves the people team. So I'm a part of that larger group and department, and I help to run our entire benefits and wellness program from start to finish, whether it's plan design or claims analysis or actually executing the events and the programs that we have here for our team members. It's a lot of this guy.
Awesome. So how long have you been doing that for?
Yeah, I have been with the company now for 2.5 years. So, okay. But it's gone really fast. It's a great company to work for, so it just seems like it's a blink of an eye.
Yeah, it goes by pretty fast. So can you tell me a little bit more about the benefits and the perks that you offer to your own employees?
Definitely. So obviously, being in the healthcare world, we want to make sure we're offering a great health option for our team members. So we offer high deductible health plans, obviously consumer-driven health plans, or you could call them HSA compatible health plans. The company is so generous in order to help team members with those. They help us by paying 75% at least of our medical premiums. And then between HSA contributions and wellness incentives, they can also help us pay for up to 75% of our claims. Wow. So really robust wellness and health plans there that help people really manage their health and the health of their family members. So that's a big part of our benefits package. We also, like I kind of mentioned there, offer a holistic in-house wellness program. So we definitely believe in a holistic approach towards health. You know, just like in the environment and the ecosystem, how all the pieces of an ecosystem impact one another. We believe similarly with your health that all areas of your health can impact your overall health. So if you're not doing really well mentally, it's going to affect other areas of your health, you know, and if you're not doing well physically, same thing, you know, so all of them are important. So our wellness program really touches on all of those areas of health. We have events and activities and initiatives all throughout the year to touch on all of those. So the wellness program is another big part of our benefits package. And then we have a bunch of other programs just to complement that. I mean, we have the traditional benefits, of course, dental, vision, employee assistance program, life insurance, all that fun stuff. But then we also have things like maternity benefit to help people as they're growing their families. We have tuition assistance and a great mentoring program to help people grow their intellectual health and their career too, so that they can continue on, whether it's with HealthEquity or if they, find their career taking them outside to bigger and better things. We want to help support them in their individual growth. So those are big things. Another really big part of our culture and our benefits package is a program we call Motivosity, it is called Motivosity, but it's a software that we have licensed to be able to use here, and it helps our team members. It gives them an avenue through which they can recognize each other for the great things that they're doing, whether it's cross-collaborative or interdepartmental or, any other kind of help. It's a great tool to help them recognize each other. And each team member here actually gets real money every month to be able to give out to other team members around the company. And if they don't use it, they lose it. So they really are incentivized to, do that. And then as people are rewarding them and thanking them for the great efforts that they are giving, then they can save up their dollars, and we have a store where they can go buy like really cool stuff or cash it in for gift cards or, Groupons or Amex gift cards or whatever they want. So cool. That's another really benefits package.
Cool. So you talked about mentoring. Now that's kind of a unique thing. I haven't really heard any other companies talk about that specifically. Do you want to kind of just unpack that idea a little bit, kind of tell us how that works?
Absolutely. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to really plant that seed and grow that program here, and it's been amazing. So we are just starting. We just started. We're about a month in now to our 4th round of mentoring. Mm-hmm. It's all run in-house, so it's a lot of work, but it's a really big payoff because team members are. So what we do, I guess, let me back up. We have different cycles, and we've tried out different durations for the cycles. Right now, we're working with a little bit longer cycle, but we've tried shorter ones as well. We try and shut the program down during our busy season, so that only leaves us with about 6 to 8 months of really good time to be able to partner people up. But we invite all of our team members here to participate as a mentee if they are interested in whether it's, learning a specific skill set or learning about a specific department, or if they have a specific project in mind and they think that, there's got to be someone out there at the company that can help me really, blow this project out of the water, then, they would come to the mentoring program. And so they can request any of these types of things, whether it's a skill set, a person, or department. And then we similarly ask our team members who want to volunteer to be mentors and ask them what skill sets they really have an expertise in. And then we lock ourselves in a room, the program admins, and we go through and we really, take a vested interest in partnering each mentee with a mentor that has that expertise that they're looking for, that can really help them to grow their own personal skills and professional skills and help them, in the career development path that they want to go along with. And actually a really cool thing that we've just started, actually this week, we just did our second one today. We have developed an in-house, what we call it, a Purple Career Paths seminar series. So we found that there wasn't really an avenue for team members to just learn about what are the other departments that are within HealthEquity, what are the specific roles within those departments, what skills are needed for the roles within those departments, and then finally, what are some good career paths into those roles, but then also out of those roles. So, you're not just getting into something and, okay, where am I going to go from here after I've worked in this department for a year or two? So we asked everybody in the company, we started out a poll to see what were the top requested departments, and then those were the ones that we're starting the series with. And like I said, we just did our second one today, and it's been a really great complement to our mentoring program because it allows team members who aren't necessarily interested in a long-term partnership with one particular mentor, but more just want to get a flavor of what else is out there at HealthEquity at least, and what can I see myself doing, or where would my skills align best with. And so that's what we've gotten really positive feedback on that. It's been a fun new program to launch. So.
Yeah, it sounds like that would be something that would really improve morale for the employees and really get a lot more buy-in into what you guys are trying to do, because they can really see those possibilities of where they can go in the company and kind of understand how it works as a whole, which can only benefit the company when the departments are working together. So I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah. And it helps with our hiring team too, because then people are more conscientious about the roles that they're applying for. They're not just applying for any department because, oh, this job description sounds fun, but they have a more comprehensive understanding of what that role does within the company. And if they really want to go there, or if they're just, interested in seeing, oh, what do you do? Okay, maybe that's not for me. So I'm not going to put my candidate into that resume, or my resume into that candidate. I'll put it in somewhere else that's better aligned with my skills. So it's been good for them.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds like a great idea all around. I think that's something that really actually sparked my interest as a business owner. I'm like, how can we do something like that and have people mentoring other people in our organization? I think that's really neat.
Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm definitely willing to help. I love you guys. So
awesome. Thank you. So I heard that your company takes culture very seriously, and that you guys actually have a theme for your corporate culture. And so I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So our company was founded by a doctor. He's a trauma. Well, he was a practicing trauma surgeon. He just recently stopped practicing to focus on HealthEquity. But his name is Dr. Steve Neeleman, and he. When he was first founding the company and looking for investors, he went to his brother Dave Neeleman, who founded JetBlue, actually. And so JetBlue, was successful, and so one of the things, so Steve had again requested from Dave, hey, will you help me start this company and help in funding that? And so Dave said, I will, but on one condition, if you match, or if you raise, a certain amount of money, then I'll match that, but you, in order to get that money, you have to share a certain article, and it's called The Constant Customer, with every one of your team members. And he also shared the book, The Purple Cow by Seth Godin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar. Yep. I'm sure your listeners are familiar with Seth Godin at least, but the basic gist of the story of The Purple Cow is, he's driving along in the car with his kids in the back, and they're driving through some farmland where they hadn't seen cows very much. They hadn't been exposed to cows very much, but when they're driving through the farmland, the kids in the back are like, Dad, look out the window, there's a cow, and so it's like, okay. And then after a little while, they stopped really being so excited about the cows, because they became normal after being exposed to them so much. And so he started thinking more of well, what would make that cow stand out to my kids now? Because now it's just repetitive to them. It's nothing normal. But if that were a purple cow, that would stand out. And so we have taken that at HealthEquity and really run with it, that whole concept of being purple. And so it's something that's very inherent into our culture here and runs really deep. So what it means to be purple for our team members, and then just in the service that we're giving, is that you're delivering remarkable service, and you're really doing top notch, and you're trying to do things the best way from the get-go. So you're not having to go back, and we all make mistakes, so we get that, but in general, you're really trying to deliver above and beyond every single time. And so, we really pride ourselves, whether it's in our member services department where our members are calling in, or whether it's our client services where our clients, our benefit administrators who have us as a product call in, whoever it is we're serving, or whether it's internally, because often, we're our own partners and our own clients, and internally helping each other on projects, just delivering that remarkable purple service. So
I love that.
Big thing here.
Yeah, I've got that book on my shelf behind me. Actually, that's one of the
nice.
one of the first books that I read when I was starting this company as well. That has had a huge impact on the way I've built Incorporate Massage. So I think that's really cool that we have that alignment right there.
Wow, we got.
So and you said you guys kind of look for people that kind of match up with that purple value system. Like what do those people look like? What is that?
So it's kind of interesting. We have this thing where whenever we are interviewing, and we have, a ton of hiring managers, because we've grown to be a pretty big company now. We're 650 almost team members strong. And so there's a lot of leaders in there who are hiring, and they each go into their interviews, not necessarily exactly, the same. And so, but in every single one of them, we look for purple people. And so, while we don't always require that someone be exactly fit for that job, they may have a not a lot of experience in Excel, but maybe their role needs Excel skills. We can teach you Excel, but we can't teach you purple. So that's why we always look for purple. So, it's just naturally in how they are, are they friendly? Are they looking to be able to provide excellent service, and again, those things are a little bit, it's kind of harder to teach those skills. And so those are, we try and make sure that we invite purple people in. So
yeah, I know, and we're totally the same way here too. I just got done doing some interviews today, and one of the people we interviewed, I was just like, that is that person that you guys call that characteristic purple, but we are looking for that same thing. And I think a lot of companies are, but you guys really have it defined. You've really got written down. So when you're recruiting and when you're hiring, how do you make sure that you're actually hiring the right person? I know you're looking for that purple characteristic, but how do you measure that? How do you determine exactly what that is, what you're looking for in recruiting?
Yeah. So, I think each hiring manager does it on their own, like their own special way. We definitely have, like multiple people involved in the hiring process too. I think part of our secret sauce is in part of our recruiting team. Like they know what they're looking for, and they have built a really great team here already, and so it's just continuing to perpetuate that. And I think one of the biggest things that we look for is like passion. Anyone who's passionate, whether it's about, the end goal or the product or, the service, like whatever it is, if they have like a specific passion and they make that evident, that really goes a long way in an interview. And in fact, I know this is a common question, but that at least our hiring managers love to ask is just, what are you passionate about? Mm-hmm. And so regardless of work, let's just talk about life. Like we want people working here who are happy, and we want people who enjoy something in life, and or at least, have some kind of life outside of work so that they can have some work-life balance, and don't get me wrong here. We have tons of workaholics. I'm one of them too. I find a lot of passion in my work and a lot of reward there as well. But, we want to make sure people have a balance and they find things rewarding outside of work as well. So they're not just consumed by this one thing. So.
Yeah, that's a really great trait to look for in employees. I completely agree. So once you get those employees and you're like, you are the one, what is it that you do in onboarding to get them integrated into that culture? How do you do that?
Definitely. So, we try and be really transparent, and that is one of the first things we talk about in our onboarding. So, we have a pretty comprehensive onboarding process, but like I said, on the first day, one of the things that they go through is like a purple passion kind of, I don't want to say like lecture, but it's just like a kind of workshop, I guess. So it just really gets them inundated into the background of, okay, what are you coming into? And we try and set that up, those expectations up in the interview as well. But obviously, like during the onboarding process, you have more time and you're able to really, get to know them in a more in-depth way. And so, letting them know about, okay, here's what you're coming into, here's our expectations, but, we've already identified you as purple, and you are purple. You have it, whatever you want to call that, we call it purple. That's, you have it. And so helping them kind of already be labeled, I guess you say, it's the Pygmalion effect. If you tell them what they are, they'll believe it. And so they really are, and we believe it. And so it just helps to reiterate it in them, and then they just keep living it. And another really big thing that we do as time goes on, because it's not just like, okay, you do this once and then you're done, But we try and do things ongoing all the time throughout the year to help reinforce that purple culture. So whether it's wellness activities or culture activities or, family activities or parties or whatever it is, we try and reinforce those values that we really care about as a business, so that it's not just, okay, you get this one time and then you're done and we kind of forget about it. It's on a bookshelf, or whatever. We want to make sure like it's alive and it's a living, breathing thing that people are constantly being able to engage with and engage in their peers in that manner too. So
yeah, that's awesome. So what is that experience for the employee once they are done with their onboarding? What does their experience look like in the workplace with HealthEquity? Yeah.
So I forgot to mention too, one thing. You said employee. And so I'm like, to us, that's kind of like a 4-letter word around here because we call everyone team members. So I mentioned earlier about like the rebranding of the HR team to the people team as well. Names have a big impact. And so we also like to call our team, our employees, I like shudder saying it a little bit even, but we call them team members because we really value collaboration and we value people being able to feel like they contribute to the overall group because everyone does, every single department and every single role here is like so critical. So just again, making sure everyone like feels a part of the team, because we're a team in like every aspect. And so now I kind of forgot what your question
What
Sorry.
what does it feel like for your team members once they are onboarded? Like, what is that experience like for each team member? What's the atmosphere like?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a whirlwind. I know that it's been that way for me, and it's been that way for a lot of other people since I've come on in the past 2.5 years. So like I said, we've got like events constantly going on. So just to give you a little sample, we just wrapped up 2 weeks last week of Stress Less Week. So every different day we had a different type of stress relieving therapy, I guess, brought in. So whether it was animal therapy or music therapy or art therapy or guided meditation or yoga, I mean, like all these different types of things. And then as soon as we wrap that up, boom, we're starting our Purple Career Path seminar series going on right now. And by the way, this is also on top of like this mentoring program, which is like this long-term program where people can participate over months. We've just constantly got things going on. So that kind of gives you a little flavor. Like there's literally things always going on that you can participate in and you can engage in. To add to that, we have different team members that are really interested in a specific hobby or activity. We empower them to be able to go out, and if they can find other team members who are interested in a similar activity and want to get together and form a group, we have different clubs like that. So we've got a writing club, we've got a game board club, we've got a cycling club, we've got a running club. We've got all these different types of clubs that people can, form on their own organically, and then they do their own things throughout the year as well. And so there's like tons of opportunities for engagement, tons of opportunities to learn more things about whether it's the company or skills, and there's always stuff going on. It's pretty fun.
So it's an exciting place to work. It sounds like there's not a dull moment at HealthEquity. So what do you think it is that makes your specific culture that you guys have there, that makes it so positive and so effective for what you're doing as a company?
I think really just continuing to value it and to continue to have the leadership support. A lot of those things that I mentioned, they don't necessarily come like free. And so in order to be able to really do things well, it's nice to be able to have like dollars behind it and the resources that you need. Another thing is, and this is just, again, finding those purple people. A lot of the activities, like I said, our wellness team is all volunteer based, as is our culture club, which plans a lot of our other activities that aren't wellness based necessarily. So having people that are passionate and like interested and willing to dedicate time on top of their regular job to execute those things and provide them to the rest of the company is like a huge thing that's necessary. And then, like I said, again, leadership support. And that goes from the top down, So, we had our CEO and our founder both participate in Stress Last Week and then in our recent Biggest Loser competition. That says a lot, when they're willing to walk the walk and really put, action behind what they're saying, like that says a lot to the team members that can see them. And that's everybody, because they're at the top, so people look for them and what are they doing and want to follow suit. So
yeah, and that's actually a really common theme that I see in highly productive organizations, is that always comes from leadership and it always comes from the top down. So speaking to that principle of leadership buy-in, do you have any advice on for like other HR people or wellness people or just people that want to improve their culture at their businesses? How do you go about getting that leadership buy-in for some of those projects and initiatives that you think are really going to help? How did you guys do that?
Yeah. So I think, involving them obviously is like one easy way to do it. If they're a part of the solution, then they're going to champion it even that much more, But that being said, there's also, some things that you just have to kind of like push on them and just keep at it. It's not going to fix overnight. In fact, it's taken a while even to get, like, we've had wellness kind of always kind of like hovering around. The official program started when I joined, like I said, 2.5 years ago. But it wasn't until like recently where it started getting even more momentum and like being a broader, like, natural part of our culture. And so I think it's just a matter of continually messaging it. And with that goes making sure you're messaging things in the right way. If you're targeting people out of like a fear-based thing, be healthy. Otherwise, we're going to, add additional, cost to your premiums, or you can have these negative impacts. That's not as necessarily like driving as if you find out, okay, what do they actually value and what do they care about? Are they wanting to spend more time with their family? Okay, then let's tap into that with our messaging. And like, that's why we do what we do. We want people to be healthy so they can spend more time with their family or whatever it is. And so, continually messaging, but finding the right message is a really important thing. And
so how do you get that information from your clients or from your staff, your team members? How do you get that information to find out what they really value? Where do you get that communication?
You got to talk to them. You got to know who they are, right? And then the more you know who they are, you can find out what they value. I mean, sending out surveys too is another easy way, if you're looking for like a quick, easy way to administer, something like that, asking them, what are the most important things to you, and usually they can tie back to some area of health in one way or another. And if not directly, then definitely indirectly, because your health affects every part of your life, and so, I think really just getting to know them. And that goes back to the leadership too. Ideally, you want leaders that know their team and that care about them personally, and not just, okay, are you getting the job done? But how's your life outside of work? Because, we all know that's going to have a huge impact on your engagement at work and then your productivity and all those like great things that are going on at work too. So having a management team that really knows their team members and then being able to engage that management team and then also just know your team members, depending on the size of your company, obviously, So.
Yeah, definitely. So for those who are listening, what do you think other companies can do to define and set goals for their own corporate cultures in their own businesses that they work in?
Yeah. Well, I'm a really big proponent of Covey. So for those that know Covey, principle number 1 is begin with the end in mind. So, think about really what you want to build and then I'm also a big proponent of visualization. So, what does that look like for your company? And then how do you want to get there and get detailed with it? Talk about all the different areas of your business that can impact and how can you build that? So really coming up with your own roadmap and then getting others to support and to buy into that so that they can champion it as well. It takes just one person to start the movement, but then it's going to take more people to help really make it become a large, population-based thing. So finding, what do you want, identifying how you get there, and then getting people to help you champion it and execute it.
Yeah, and those are great pieces of advice for somebody who's wanting to start building a culture. What about those listeners that have employees that are already working for them and they're wanting to change their culture or turn it and change it in a different direction than where it is now? Do you have any advice for people trying to make a change in culture?
I would say be completely transparent because, if you're trying to pull a fast one on people, they're more likely to resist the change. But if they have more understanding of why, like, if you call it out to them, we want to get away from this and we want to water the lawn over here, in this culture or, in this characteristic or this attribute or whatever, just being completely transparent about it and then how you're going to do that, I think that can go a long way.
Definitely. So what about measuring corporate culture? So I know obviously if you guys are implementing different programs and you're implementing different initiatives, you have to have some way of measuring the efficacy of it. So how do you guys measure that?
Yeah, so participation rates, obviously, in a lot of these events, like I said, they don't come free. So we want to make sure we're measuring our people are going to them to begin with, and then how are they liking them? And then if it's something that's causing, or that, for wellness stuff, if we're looking for a behavior change, how much of that are we actually are we getting from this event or whatever? But I think just overall, another good way to measure, I guess you could say, culture is with your retention rates and your attrition rates. How quickly are team members turning over, or what percentage of your team members are turning over? If it's something that's gonna happen a lot, then it's gonna cost you in more ways than one. Not just in like training and onboarding, but then it's going to impact your morale because you're constantly having to train new people while you're still running the hamster wheel, if you will. So that's pretty draining, especially for a working leader. So
yes, I understand how that goes.
Amazing. So
do you have any other tips or any other advice for our audience just on some real take-home ideas of what they can actually do and implement today to enhance their corporate culture?
I would just say make sure you're involving your leadership because that is a huge driver, and being able to make sure that, whatever you're trying to achieve happens, and make sure you're listening to your team members too. So sometimes people need to be managed out because they don't like what they're doing and it's just not a right fit. But then, a lot of the times people will be on board. They just need to know, like, what's your end goal and what are you trying to achieve? And then they can get behind that as well.
Yeah. So a lot of that sounds like communication based strategies. Yeah. And just one last time, as far, what if you're in an organization and you're having a hard time getting leadership buy-in? Do you have any kind of takeaways or pieces of advice? Because I know there's a lot of our listeners that struggle with getting that leadership buy-in. And so if you have a reluctant leader, are there any techniques or strategies that you think would be effective in kind of getting them to see the light on your side?
Yeah. I think kind of the stories that team members have. If you can find some team members that have really good stories about, where they're finding passion at work and something that, if you're trying to develop more passion at work or whatever, however you're trying to shift your culture, find those stories and then take that back to that leader and help them see, like, look, this really does have potential. We just need to spread the fire. We need to get it to a larger part of our organization here. And so I think stories can be really impactful. So I would try with that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I love your energy and I love your passion and all your ideas. This has just been like so useful for everyone. I think we've all got a lot that we have been able to learn from you today. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Wasn't that some great information? I really think that their mentorship program and the idea of hiring purple people are really, really powerful suggestions that can help any company enhance their corporate culture. There's definitely a lot to learn there. So I have a question for you. Do you hold health fairs at your organization? If you do, you should go to incorporatemassage.com/culturecast and click on episode 2, and you can download a free health fair ebook. It's to help you plan out a health fair, and there's templates in there and there's tools in there to help you run a successful health fair at your own company. And I think you'll find it really, really helpful. And that's incorporatemassage.com/culturecast. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next time, we're going to be talking about how to build a successful wellness program from the ground up. So thanks for listening today and have a fabulous day. All right, and then cut.
Good, because my phone is like about to die.